Hey guys, this is Miss Delcom. I am going to be going over the last 6 questions on the objective. Give me one moment. Objective 2, 6.3. Okay. I want to talk to you about that real quick. This one, how we originally set it up is that we set up each one individually for the week. But when we sent out the packets were all for 3 weeks. So this is the way that we're going to start submitting them online and the way I'm going to do my videos. Okay, so this will be the last video for 6.3. On Monday, I will go over Objective 1, 6.7, some of those questions and how to set those up. And then on that next Monday, which is April 6th, I will be going over Objective 3, 6.11. Okay. And the videos that I will be showing will work some of the problems out. You'll see that some of them are the same over and over. I'll just probably do one to get you in the hang of it and kind of refresh your memory on the way it's supposed to be going. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at these last 6 questions. Okay, so which expression has the value of negative 22? Well, we need to first solve each one of these to figure that out. And remember, when you're subtracting a negative, you add its opposite. Okay, when subtracting a negative, you add its opposite. I see a lot of subtracting negatives here, so I just want us to remember that. Okay, so if we were rewriting this, let's look at letter A here. If I was rewriting that, that would be 8 plus the opposite of negative 3 is 3 plus 33 divided by negative 3. Letter B, that would be negative 3 plus a negative 2 minus a negative 8. Well, subtracting a negatives is adding its opposite. So we add the opposite of negative 8, which is a positive 8, minus 1. Looking at letter C, negative 6 times 2. We have a minus and negative 15, which we add the opposite, which is positive 15. And letter D is negative 5 times 2 minus 12. Okay. So remember, what's key and important here is that when subtracting a negative, you add its opposite, but also remember order of operations. Order of operations, remember PEMDAS or GEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide, which comes first from left to right. Add and subtract, what comes first from left to right as well. Okay, I'm going to flip to the next question. Using my handy dandy document camera supporter, which is a can of green beans today. Okay, it says a team of 4 players completed a golf contest. The names of the scores and the players on the team are shown in the table. The team score and the sum of all of the scores in the table. Okay, there is a key word in here. Zoom this out a little bit so you can see what is the key word to tell me what operation it is. Okay, if you said sum or if you highlighted sum, you are correct. You're correct. Remember, sum is add. So we need to add these together. So what is a team score? Well, we need to add what Brett had plus Elliot plus Lynn plus Tyrone. Yes. So once you figure that out, you'll figure out what the team score is. One moment while I kind of sneak through. Got to pause. All right, we're going to go right back to it. Here we go. Okay. Wave, CK. Wave, say hi. Okay, so that was number 12. Let's look at number 13. A recipe calls for 2/3 cups of butter. Rama wants to make 3/4 of the recipe. How many cups of butter should Rama use to make the cookies? Okay, so we're dealing with fractions. Don't freak out with fractions, guys. Do not freak out with fractions. Okay, if we're looking for it, we need to know how much butter does she need? Well, the recipe requires 2/3 cups of butter. So this is what the recipe calls for. But she is making 3/4 of the recipe. So she's not making the whole recipe. That's very important to know. So since she's making not the whole recipe, she's making 3/4. 3/4 is less than the whole recipe. So we're probably going to use less butter than what originally calls for. Okay. So remember, there's a key word in here, which is was of, which means to multiply. So we're taking 2/3 and we're multiplying it by 3/4. All right. Remember when we multiply with fractions, we multiply straight across. And we will find our answer from there. Also, make sure you simplify your answer. That may help as well. Bless you. Okay, number 30. All right, the teacher wrote this expression on the board. What is the value of the expression? Okay, so we're dealing with order of operations. So, order of operations. So, order of operations. So remember PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide from left to right, add and subtract from left to right. Also, we're dealing with some negatives here, guys. So remember our tic-tac-toe board? So put positives going down, diagonal. We fill in the rest with negatives. So a positive times a negative gives me a negative. A negative times a negative gives me a positive, and a positive times a positive gives me a positive. So remember that, and that's also on your builders, guys, for you to refer back to. Okay, that was question number 30. All right. The next question, a carpenter wants to cut 5/6 of the board into pieces that are 5/16 feet long. The carpenter will use the expression shown to calculate the number of pieces that can be cut from the cardboard. Which expression can also be used to calculate the number of pieces that can be cut from the board? Okay, so remember when you're dividing fractions, IONS, give me 1 second. You keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. That's the action everybody knows when we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Keep the first one. Change from what to what. That should be a reminder. And then flip the second fraction. And then you'll be able. Okay, Bubba. Okay. Okay. Last one that we're going to do. Let me go ahead and pause this. He's getting fussy. Okay, let's try this and finish this up real quick. Full sides. Last question. A baby weighed 7¼ pounds at birth. At the end of 8 months, she weighed 2.5 times the birth weight. How many pounds did the baby weigh at the end of 8 months? Okay, there are some numbers in there that you're like going to highlight. You're going to be like, oh, well, it's in there. I need to do something about it. Remember, look for that key important information. Look for the key and important information. We want to know how much it weighed at the end of 8 months. So how much did it weigh at the end of it? Well, this was the start weight, 7 1/4 pounds. Okay, 8 months passed and it weighs 2.5 times that. Even tells me what operation I'm dealing with here, guys. All right, the operations multiply. Okay, so I'm multiplying some rational numbers. So 7 2500ths times 2.5. Well, something's wrong here because I got a decimal and a fraction. I've got to do something. So I have two choices. I can either change this into a decimal or change this into a fraction. So we'll do both and then you'll solve and figure out which one's easier for you. So if I change 2.5 into a fraction, that's like $2.50. That's like $2.50. Okay. If I made 7 2500ths into a fraction, well, 2500ths or like 25 cents is worth 1/4, and 1/4 is how I would write it like that, times 2 1/4. Now remember, when we multiply here, we first need to make them into improper fractions and then have this, get them to have the same denominator. Once you figure out which one you like best, you didn't even have to put the 0 there. I did it on accident. But it doesn't matter because you're still going to get the same number. Solve it and you should be able to get the correct answer. All right, so that's a summary of the last of 6.3. I will send out a Zoom time for tomorrow, probably afternoon. It depends. I just kind of want to go over something I want y'all to do this weekend about Google Docs and Google Forms. All right, y'all have a good day. Bye.